For the demonstration today, we are going to be using two never been used original beauty blenders. These are from two different batches, so you can see that there are slight differences between them. Both Beauty Blender brand and never been used. So I'm going to actually use this one right here. We're going to set this one off to the side. The process I'm about to demonstrate, you're going to want to do every time you use your beauty blender. Your beauty blender should almost always be used dampened. So this is how we prep a beauty blender for use. And turn on your water. You're going to place your beauty blender under the water, and then you don't want to just let the water run on top of it. You really want to squeeze it and let it get the air bubbles out, and make sure that the beauty blender is fully saturated. And since this has never been used, this one is really going to start growing. Okay, so this beauty blender is fully saturated, and what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze all the water out because you want this damp, not wet. The next kind of extra step I like to do is either use a clean towel or a disposable cotton. Put the beauty blender in there after all the water has been squeezed out, and I just give it a couple more squeezes. So now we have a towel-dried beauty blender. Now that our beauty blender has been dampened, you can see that it's grown quite a bit in size. This is the one we have wetted. This is the one that is still original and never been used. This beauty blender will never go back to the original size. It will shrink down a little bit when it dries, but it'll never be this small again. So to use your beauty blender, what you're going to do is you're going to use the bigger end, the butt end, to apply your foundation. You can either put your foundation directly on your face, or I have mine here on a mixing palette because I've mixed a couple together. And so I'm going to dip my beauty blender directly in, and then you're going to use a bouncing motion and just keep moving across your face. So you're not wiping, but you're bouncing. And this is why the beauty blender kind of became so popular, is because it really kind of pushes the foundation into your skin and gives you a more natural, realistic look. And then make sure to always go under your jawline, in case your foundation's not perfect in color. And then this is where I will wipe. And then since most of it's been applied, I'm about ready to need a dip. I'm just going to take this residual and I'm going to pull it down my neck. Because naturally your skin tone typically changes from your face to your neck. So this just kind of blends it in. Alright, now I need another dip. Do the other side of my face. And how often you're going to have to, how much you need, how many times you need to dip your beauty blender in is going to depend on the foundation you're using, and how far it goes and how much coverage you need. I typically do one for each side and then I dip in an additional for the forehead, so 3. And then I always go back and really pay attention around here, because that's where I have problems with it breaking up. And then I'm just going to try to wipe up everything that's left here and go into the forehead. Now this is where I kind of prefer the Beauty Blender blusher, because this is really too big for me between the eyebrow and the hairline, so I kind of squeeze it to make that shape. And then I can go back to just bouncing. That's how you use your Beauty Blender to apply your foundation. Next, we're going to do concealer. We're going to use Old Faithfuls here today, so Tarte Shape Tape. And because this is a doe foot applicator, I'm going to use that to apply it directly to my face. I'm going to use the butt end to work this out and down the nose. I kind of like doing concealer down the nose again because I have problems with the coverage staying there on the tip of my nose. And then we're going to flip it over and use the pointy end to get up underneath the eye. So same bouncing motion. I like to put my finger on the other side for support. And you can really get close. And then I go up out to the hairline. If you're worried about your face looking wide, don't take your concealer all the way out. Stop it towards the end of the eyebrow. And then I bring it, stretch it down a little bit, and then I carry it across the bridge of the nose so it ties in. And now on the other side. And yes, you will make funny faces to stretch the area out. Now that my concealer is on, I want to work very quickly. You kind of hold your eyes wide open so nothing moves and creases. I kind of keep tapping. And next I'm going to use the Beauty Blender and I'm going to dip it in this loose powder. And I'm going to use this to press this in under here. If you choose to let this sit and bake, this would be called baking. But this is just how I pretty much always apply it because I feel like most of the time a brush doesn't get me as even of a coverage. I really like how well this, and it pushes it into the skin and really prevents creasing. So far we've used this one tool to apply our foundation, apply our concealer, and set our concealer. You can also use this to set your powder. I will say I don't do this every day, but just to show you the full uses of your Beauty Blender, I'm going to go back to the butt end and I'm going to take my pressed powder and I'm going to swirl this on here and then start bouncing this powder into my skin. I'm just a little old school with my face powder and I like using a brush, but honestly this does just as good of a job. Then if you want to do a little bit of reverse contouring, you can go back to the other end of the Beauty Blender, use a light face powder, and you can create a line with the tip. A lot of times I'll do this with the Beauty Blender after I've contoured. I'm not going to contour today because that's not something I do with the Beauty Blender. If you do use cream contour, the Beauty Blender is great for blending that out, but most of the time I use powder. So while I will put the powder on for the reverse contour with the Beauty Blender, I do brush it off with the brush. I do want to say that the Beauty Blender brand is Logical Harmony approved as cruelty free. And they do make cleansers. They make a liquid and solid cleanser for this because I only use my beauty sponges once before I clean them because I have problems with acne. I don't want to encourage any bacteria growth. So I do wash them every time between use. And you are supposed to throw these away every 3 months and buy a new one. I will admit I don't do that. I stretch these out way longer. I wait until they start cracking, and honestly I've had a couple beauty blenders for over a year before they started cracking. So I know this is kind of expensive at $20, or sometimes you can get them cheaper if you get a multi-pack. I highly recommend getting the multi-packs. These babies last you forever, so I definitely think they're worth the investment. And I love my Beauty Blender. It has absolutely changed my makeup application, and I don't know that I will ever go with that one. So thank you for spending time with me today. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.